What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a dynamic light heavyweight champion by the name of Jack Dillon. Now, Jack Dillon was born February 2nd, 1891 in Frankfort, Indiana. He died August 7th, 1942 in Chattahoochee, Florida. He entered the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1959 and International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1995. He had a fighting record of 94-7-14 with 64 knockouts, 129 no decisions with 1 no contest. He weighed anywhere between 140 to 183.5 pounds and fought great fighters such as Harry Greb, middleweight champion, Bob Mohar, outstanding middleweight, Frank Klaus, who was a middleweight champion. Frank Klaus lost the middleweight championship to George Chipp. I did a profile on George Chipp. Type in George Chipp, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and you'll learn more about George Chipp. Hugo Kelly, May 28, 1912, he would defeat him and earn the light heavyweight championship of the world in Indianapolis. He would lose that title to Battling Levinsky. Now, I want to go through his career a little more deep, but I want to do it with you on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Jack Dillon was born Ernest Coulter Price on February 2nd, 1891 in Frankfort, Indiana. His nationality was Scottish Irish American. He scaled 158 and he stood 5 foot 7.5 inches. He was known as the Giant Killer. Now, he lost his light heavyweight championship crown to Battling Levinsky on October 24th, 1916 on a 12-round decision. He would defeat Hugo Kelly to earn the light heavyweight championship of the world. Among other fighters that he fought was George Chipp, middleweight champion of the world, Frank Klaus, middleweight champion of the world, Leo Florian Hook, outstanding middleweight, Jack Twin Sullivan. Jack Twin Sullivan had a brother by the name of Mike Twin Sullivan. Mike Twin Sullivan was welterweight champion of the world. They looked alike and would also switch as opponents with the fighters they fought. Fascinating. Harry Greb, middleweight champion, and Al McCoy, middleweight champion. He would face some outstanding fighters such as Gumbo Smith, Mike Gibbons. Mike Gibbons was an outstanding middleweight. He had a brother by the name of Tom Gibbons, who fought Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney, among others. He died on August 7th, 1942 in the state of Florida. Let's take a little further look into his career. Now, he began his professional career in 1908. He defeated Joe McCree in 6. Knockouts as follows: Jack Laffey in 4, Lynn Porter in 4, Tom Delane in 4, Pat Lark in 4. 1909, Pat Lark in 6, Jimmy Cooley. These are victories that he earned. Knockouts as follows: Joe McKee in 6 rounds, Kid Sims in 3 rounds, Charlie Humphreys in 2 rounds, and Kid Clark in 6 rounds, Kid Griffin in 4 rounds, Bob Long in 5 rounds, Kid Gray in 2 rounds, and Young Corners in 5 rounds, Kid Sullivan 3 rounds, Tom Scallion in 6 rounds, Everett Reeves in 5 rounds, and Kid Sparks in 2 rounds. He lost to Ray Bronson. I think I showed you a photo of Ray Bronson, fascinating fighter. He would lose to him in 6 rounds. 1910, he would defeat Freddie Hicks in 15 rounds, Kid Brown in 20 rounds. He would knock out fighters as followed: Jack Roberts in 2 rounds, Rube May in 5 rounds, Jack Ryan in 6 rounds. He would draw with Ray Bronson in 8 rounds. He would lose to Eddie McCorvey, very good fighter, in 10 rounds. No decision, Jim Cooley in 6 rounds, Dick Fitzpatrick in 10 rounds, Howard Morrow in 8 rounds, and Jim Perry in 6 rounds, Jack Hicker in 12 rounds, George Chipp, who was middleweight champion of the world, in 6 rounds. Fascinating. Now, February 9th, he would face Tommy Danforth in Memphis, Tennessee. He would knock him out in 2 rounds. March 3rd, Fireman Jim Flynn in Kansas City. He would earn a 10-round draw. March 11th, Jack Lester 2-round victory. 1910, January 31st, Jack Roberts, Cincinnati, he would knock him out in 2 rounds. February 8th, Jimmy Cooley, Indianapolis, he would defeat him in 6 rounds. March 8th, Ray Bronson, Anderson, he would draw with him in 8 rounds. April 2nd, Rube May, Anderson, knock him out in 5 rounds. April 21st, Dick Fitzpatrick, Anderson, he would defeat him in 10 rounds. May 30th, Howard Morrow, Anderson, he would defeat him in 8 rounds. And this would go on as follows. He would lose 1 fight to Eddie McCarty and Anderson. That would be on December 6th, 1910, and he would lose to him in 10 rounds. That was a fantastic fighter he lost to. 1911, Harry Mansfield, January 2nd, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision and 6 rounds. January 11th, Eddie McCarty, he would have a 12-round no decision over him. George Chip, Dayton, Ohio, January 24th, 15-round victory. That's a fascinating victory. Because as I said, George Chip would be middleweight champion of the world with the defeat of Frank Klaus. Mike Clover, February 4th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. He would have a KO over Jimmy Maloney. 3rd round. Mike Twin Sullivan, Buffalo, no decision in 10 rounds, March 17th. April 4th, Frank Mantell, Boston, he would defeat him in 12 rounds. Frank Mantell would be welterweight champion of the world. April 28th, George Chip, no decision in 10 rounds. Bob Mohawk, May 3rd, Indianapolis, no decision in 10 rounds. Ralph Earn, no decision in 10 rounds on June 5th. I'm just skimming through here. We would fight George K.O. Brown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds, and George Chip, Youngstown, Ohio, no decision in 12 rounds. That would be November 11th and November 22nd. December 6th, 1911, he would fight Frank Klaus in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. Leo Florian Hook, Indianapolis, he would defeat him in 6 rounds on January 1st, 1912. January 20th, Billy Griffin, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. Harry Wiggins, January 26th, Indianapolis, he would knock him out in 2 rounds. Fascinating. February 1st, Billy Berger, Youngstown, Ohio, no decision in 12 rounds. Jimmy Garden, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, February 3rd, he would have a no decision in 6 rounds. Patty Lavin, no decision in 10 rounds. And George Chip from Pittsburgh is where he actually faced him. 6 rounds. Now, we did a profile on George Chip. And George Chip was a fascinating fighter. Kid Clark, Indianapolis, no decision and 10 rounds. That would be February 22nd. Frank Klaus, we fight him back-to-back, March 23rd and May 3rd. One Dale City, California, and one in New York City. He would lose to him in 20 rounds in California, and he would have a 10-round no decision to him in New York City. Hugo Kelly, Indianapolis, he would knock him out in 3 rounds, and Jack Dillon claimed World Light Heavyweight Championship of the World on May 28th. And this would be 1912. Just double checking myself here. June 11th, Jack Twin Sullivan, Buffalo, no decision in 10 rounds. June 27th, George K.O. Brown, he would have a 12-round no decision over him at that time. Joe Gorman, Memphis, Tennessee, he would knock him out in 6 rounds. George Chip, Indianapolis, no decision in 10 rounds, July 25th. Mike Donovan, Richmond, he would knock him out in 4 rounds. That would be August 12th in 1912. George Chip, October 19th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. Look how many times he fights these champions and Hall of Famers. Jack Flynn, he would knock him out in 4 rounds on November 4th, 1912. George Chip again, November 11th, Columbus, Ohio, no decision in 10 rounds. Now, although there are no decisions, I consider them as fights. They just didn't get a verdict. 1913, January 1st, Gus Christie, Indianapolis, no decision in 10 rounds. Frank Maddow, 15-round victory. That would be January 9th, 1913. Buck Krause, good fighter. Pittsburgh, no decision in 6 rounds. George Chip, Youngstown, Ohio, no decision in 12 rounds. April 28th, Bob Mohawk, Milwaukee, no decision in 10 rounds. Frank Klaus, May 29th, Indianapolis, no decision in 10 rounds. Leo Florian Hook, October 9th. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. 1914, Gus Christie, Indianapolis, no decision in 10 rounds. February 4th, Freddie Hicks, no decision in 8 rounds. Excuse the blur. 1915, Porky Flynn, January 16th, Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. Frank Mentel, February 20th, New York City, no decision in 10 rounds. February 23rd, he would face Johnny Howard in Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. March 16th, Gumbo Smith, Milwaukee, good heavyweight, no decision in 10 rounds. April 6th, Billy Murray, Hudson, Wisconsin, no decision in 10 rounds. Andre Anderson, May 5th, Lexington, Kentucky, he would knock him out in 5 rounds. Fascinating. Look at the year he would have in 1915. He would fight everybody in that 1 year alone. Zulu Kid, July 16th, New York City, no decision in 10 rounds. Johnny Howard, New York City, no decision in 10 rounds. Sailor Grandy, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, no decision in 6 rounds. Fascinating. Frank Farmer, Wisconsin, knock him out in 4 rounds. Porky Flynn, Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. Yankee Gilbert, Dayton, Ohio, he would knock him out in 4 rounds on December 17th, 1915. Al Norton, December 20th, 1915. Memphis, Tennessee, he would knock him out in 4 rounds. George Lewis, Toledo, Ohio, no decision in 8 rounds on December 29th. 1916, he would face fighters as follows. January 10th, Porky Flynn, Memphis, Tennessee, he would defeat him in 8 rounds. Billy Misk, very good middleweight fighter. January 28th, 1916, in Wisconsin, he would receive a 10-round no decision. Tom Caller, good fighter. New York City, knock him out in 2 rounds. February 1st, 1916. Battling Levinsky, February 8th, Brooklyn, New York, no decision in 10 rounds. He would face Jim Flynn, that's fireman Jim Flynn, who would knock out Jack Dempsey in 1 round. March 10th, New York City, no decision in 10 rounds. Gumbo Smith, March 14th, New York City, no decision in 10 rounds. Battling Levinsky in Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. That fight took place March 28th, 1916. Battling Levinsky 2 times in a row, July 4th and July 13th. July 13th and September 12th, he fought Battling Levinsky. Baltimore, no decision in 10 rounds. And Memphis, Tennessee, a draw in 8 rounds. Fireman Jim Flynn, he took a care of in 4 rounds. He knocked him out on July 4th. October 24th, Battling Levinsky, Boston. He would lose to him in 12 rounds and lose the light heavyweight championship of the world. November 10th, Mike Gibbons, good fighter. St. Paul's, no decision in 10 rounds. That was his hometown. He had a brother by the name of Tom Gibbons, who fought Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney and others. He even fought Harry Greb. Fascinating fighter was his brother as well as himself, Mike Gibbons. Then he would fight Billy Misk in Brooklyn and no decision in 10 rounds on December 19th. 1917, Bob Moha, Dayton, Ohio, no decision in 15. January 1st, Billy Misk, January 16th, Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. Gumbo Smith, New Orleans, he would defeat him in 20 rounds on February 16th, 1917. George Chick, May 29th, Cincinnati, Ohio, no decision in 10 rounds. Soldier Smith, that was a good fight actually, July 4th, wow. He would knock him out in 1 round, that's fascinating. That's actually fascinating. Harry Greb, July 30th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no decision in 10 rounds. And Mike Gibbons, September 3rd, he would have a no decision in 10 rounds. October 5th, Hugh Walker, no decision in 10 rounds. Willie Mean fought Jack Dempsey, October 15th, Philadelphia, no decision in 6 rounds against Willie Mean. Zulu Kid, October 17th, he would have a no decision in 10 rounds. He would face Battling Stanley. Billy Misk, Brooklyn, no decision in 10 rounds. He would knock out Battling Stanley in 2 rounds. 1918, look at that schedule. January 28th, George Chick, no decision in 10 rounds. February 22nd, Hugh Walker. He would have a 12-round draw. Harry Greb, March 4th, Toledo, Ohio, no decision in 12 rounds. This is fascinating. Gumbo Smith, March 22nd, 1918. Wow, I'm just looking through this here. Actually, March 22nd, Steamboat Bill. 10-round draw. This is too much here. July 4th, Al McCoy, middleweight champion, no decision in 10 rounds. Jack Daly, August 8th, I have a profile on him, no decision, a draw in 6 rounds. Marty Cross, August 20th, Columbus, Ohio, no decision in 15 rounds. Ted Black, Detroit, December 13th, no decision in 6 rounds. 1920, February 9th, battling Halstead, Miami, Florida, no decision in 10 rounds. Young Fitzsimmons, March 21st, Hot Springs, Arkansas, no decision in 10 rounds. Young Fitzsimmons, San Antonio, Texas, no decision in 10 rounds. This is fascinating. He had total bouts of 240. He knocked out 60. One on a decision, 31. One on a foul, none. He drew 15. Lost on a decision 6 times. Lost on a foul, none. He was knocked out no times. 127 no decisions in one contest. No contest. He died August 7th, 1942 in Florida. And I just want to show you Battling Levinsky. This is the man who would actually take the title away from Jack Dillon. As you can see here, Battling Levinsky was light heavyweight champion from October 1916 to October 1920. But this is Battling Levinsky. So Jack Dillon, light heavyweight champion of the world, over 240 fights, fascinating fighter. And I just wanted to explore him with you on a Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I did enter him in my Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, and I just showed you why. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Salute to my subscribers. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Look out for the new channel, Ringside Historians, Kurt Sugar, myself, and retro boxing and documentaries. Peace.